right, so this is the second official podcast. I'm Nash, obviously joined by Kyle, and then we're joined by Kenny from Deadvectors. Introduce yourself, man. Tell us what you do in the band and like who you are as a person.
Hello, I'm Kenny. I'm the vocalist for Deadvectors, and I'm also the vocalist of Pathogen. A lot of people don't know that they're the same band, essentially. But yeah, I do vocals for both, and I've been doing it for about 2 years now. It's a lot of fun.
Nice, and also congratulations on EP release day.
Thank you very much. It's going pretty well. I wasn't sure about it just because we normally go a much more aggressive and angry rage vibe. This one was very melodic, and the fact that people like it is really assuring. That's really nice.
Yeah, I had it queued up today that I was gonna listen to it, so I decided to go to the beach, get some drinks, and chill on the beach and listen to it. Got a couple like weird looks from how heavy it was, and then like all of a sudden I just heard singing. I was just like, whoa, that's wild. Just the transition into it, I was just like, yep, that's solid. That was mint.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Pretty stoked about it. We wanted singing on it for sure. We weren't sure who we wanted. And I just kind of came across Bobby on Instagram, and I hit her up, and she was very excited about it. So it all worked out very well.
No, it was definitely a super solid EP. Like I was blown away by it. I was like, yo, this is beach music right here for me. Like just I started two-stepping on the beach by myself. Like who cares?
What else would you do,
Exactly.
Yeah, so I listened to it when you released it last night, and I was pleasantly surprised because I was like, because I always do really good with having like setting an atmosphere with each EP. I feel like each one has its own kind of like distinct feeling with it, which I just love in music. So just listening to this and being like, okay, like I was feeling it. I was like, okay, I was vibing. It probably woke me up a lot because of course it dropped at midnight. So I was like, all right. But the ending breakdown at Fireward made me lose my shit. I was in my room, and then I, of course, like lived with my dad. He was asleep. Luckily, I'm pretty far away in my house. So he didn't hear me scream, "What the fuck?" Because I was not expecting that. Because like it just hit, and I was like, "What's happening?" It just got slow, and then it just hits again. And I'm like, "Oh no!" Like it just hit double hard, man.
It brought out your true Kyle form.
Exactly. True Kyle, drywall destroyed everywhere. It was crazy.
That breakdown initially wasn't there. Aaron had something else written down, and we were trying to figure out how we wanted to end it because we wanted it to be heavy and whatnot. And we just kind of fumbled with a few different ideas. And I can't remember if it was me or him, but we ended up deciding to just repeat it and then slow the BPM down like a shit ton, and then to do it again. I don't know. I was very stoked the way it came out. It was a lot of the stuff we do is like in the studio, like we come up with it on the spot, and it's just like, well, that's the way we're doing it. That's pretty much how at least all the vocals are done. So we kind of started doing like this new recording style that we do. Aaron will write these tracks, and then I won't hear it until I show up to record that day. And we just kind of feel it out and just do vocals just like that, just one line at a time, just come up with it on the spot.
I feel like that's a really good way to go about like the writing process, especially for like this specific genre of music, because I feel like if you kind of plan it out a little too much, you start to overthink it a little bit and you kind of push away ideas that would work better. But I think when I've always played, I've always like, let's just jam, let's see where it takes us. And I feel like that's the best way to write like a super heavy album. Let's just vibe, jam, and see where the music actually will take us.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way we're going to, keep taking things. The last thing we planned for was Witness, and we only planned for half of it. And then the other half of it, we just kind of wung it in the studio. And ever since, we decided to just kind of feel it out on the spot. And that's how the finals usually go. I do want to add, though, it's cool that you recognize that each EP and each release is totally different. That's actually what we're going for. We're like putting out a ton of stuff, and each thing we have a different idea behind it, a different vibe or atmosphere that we want to hit. That way, like, we don't want people to like listen to like one particular EP when they listen to us on like Spotify or something. We want them to just hit shuffle that way, like, you get like a little bit of everything like throughout the entire time you're listening. So that's super cool that you mentioned that, because that's actually what we're aiming for. We want people to recognize that each thing's a little different.
Because that's exactly what I do.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so that's exactly what I do. Like, y'all are kind of my main gym music. So when y'all first released Distraught Mind, it was just those. That was just my like gym music for a little bit. Gym reminders. You said what?
You were there when it dropped.
I was there when y'all released a single. Like, I was listening to that. Whatever like breakdown page just showed y'all that day. I was like, okay, this song I'm gonna listen to a lot, and I did until y'all released the EP. And I listened to the entire EP a lot. Because for me, whenever because there are like a few bands that I always show people, be like, okay, have you heard of them? Probably not. You should. Here you go. I always show Merciless. That's my favorite song from y'all. That just I get creeped out during that a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but in a very good way.
You're talking about the middle breakdown,
Yeah.
That almost wasn't in there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good thing it's in there.
Yeah.
So happy it's in there.
Yeah.
Aaron wrote the song and sent it to me, and for some reason, it just didn't hit me that first day. And I was like, we should change that part. And then he ended up convincing me that it's sick. And I was like, all right, fine, I trust you. So we just kind of went with it. And I'm glad, because that's like one of the like most standout parts that everyone always mentions. So don't listen to everything I think is wrong.
But back to the whole idea of like, you know, each EP sounding different. Like, I think that's something that Kyle and I both look for when we listen to music, especially in, you know, this scene, this genre. Like, it's okay. I think it's cool when bands have a distinct sound, but they take that distinct sound and take it so many like different ways. Like, that's something we all look for. Like, you get bored listening to the same band put out the same record 3-4 times over again, and like, I respect y'all for that, like, for showing that, like, hey, we want to be the same band, but like, we need to sound different each album. We need to show progression. We need to show maturity, and just like change sound. Like, it's supposed to change over time, but it still sounds like y'all, and I think that's what's the coolest part about it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really stoked on it. I mean, like I said, that's like what we strive for. We want everything to be a little different. Like, we have the rest of the year's releases planned. We know what they're going to sound like. We know the direction we're going to take, and it's like very well rounded, we think, in like terms of like what a band could sound like. So we're just trying to hit all the bases. So, but in our own style, of course. Like,
yeah,
you know, that whole spiel.
Okay, so I know y'all are releasing something every month, right?
Yep.
Okay, because when y'all like posted, like, I guess was something on Instagram, like the post of the month or release of the month, I never read into that first sentence when I just saw y'all's post regarding the last EPs. Every time I was like, y'all are releasing something else? Great. I know what I'm doing today. But yesterday or last night, I was like, wait, is it every month? Because that's insane. That is actually insane.
That's dedication.
Yeah, I mean, we're just doing it for fun. And it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't read the captions to anything. So they're just like, another one again? And they like lose their shit over it. And we're blatantly saying that we're done this release for the month and we're on to the next one. We're like very upfront about it. And it's just so funny when people are like extra excited just because they finally realize that it's every month.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I got last night. So I was like,
oh, you just found out last night?
Yeah, that's when I saw it last night. That's why I got extra excited, because I was like, an EP, nice. And then I was like, wait, there's gonna be more this year, maybe every month. That's awesome. So I was like a kid.
We're aiming for about 40 songs this year. So
that's ridiculous.
I mean, with what we have planned over the next 2 months, it's probably going to be well over 40 songs. But we'll see. I don't want to like make any promises. Like, I've told people the game plan, like what we're doing. Like, December might be a little different, but don't quote me on it. That whole spiel. But yeah.
Even if you don't make it to 40 songs, like if you release like 20, that's still than what most bands do in like 2 years, which is that's grinding. Like, that's amazing on your part. Like, the fact that the creative juices are just continuously flowing for 40 tracks, 20 tracks, like that's that's amazing. Like that's talent.
Thanks, man. I think the idea of like going for different sounds helps a lot when it comes to like making that many songs, because
Definitely.
I don't know, we just go for different vibes and it can makes us think differently about how we like make a song. And I don't want to talk for Aaron because you know he's the like main writer, but he writes for a living. He's written over like 300 songs and he does it like every day. So he just pumps them out. So it's kind of fun having a certain direction we want to take. Like this month we released the melodic stuff and we're already like halfway finished the ideas for like next month's like actual sound, and we know what we're doing the next month after that, and then you know so on and so forth. But it's kind of fun having like an objective in terms of the sound.
Definitely. Like that's a really good way just to like, you know, like look at it and like take the whole music to a next level. Is just like, yep, each month different sound, different style EP, different, like obviously same genre, but like we're just pumping it out. Like I like that. I like the fact that you guys are putting everything into the music and making the music your life, and that's dedication. That's what I like to see from musicians and bands and artists in general.
That's awesome, man. I mean, we're just kind of doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have any objectives. Like we just enjoy writing and doing music together. So, you know, every month we kind of get together and just pump out a bunch of songs over like the course of 2 weeks. And then, you know, we move on to the next idea. So, yeah.
So like
oh,
no, you're fine.
I was gonna say it's extra crazy too, because I know y'all released the Pathogen album, but I just forgot the name of it right now.
Null Space?
Null Space, yes. In 2020, and when y'all released that, I was hype as shit for that too, because I feel like that was kind of crazy, because like same guys, two different bands, kind of same band, I guess what you said too, but like still a different sound. Like it was, I feel like when I listen to like Deadvectors, I feel like I get like Pathogen feels a little more like a controlled chaos feel, which I very much enjoyed that, listening to that, like by the guitars. I was sitting there, I was like, okay, whoa, okay, it's fantastic. And then like especially with Deadvectors, you'll do a 30-second scream. And and then I'll sit there, because the first time I heard that, I was just like sitting and I was like, is he still going? I wasn't sure. I didn't believe it. So I replayed it, like trying to get to the part where I'm like, where does he stop? I was like, oh, he just didn't. Okay, that's crazy. So how was that? I'm curious about that scream. How many takes did it take for you to do that?
Well, it probably took 3 tries to get the first layer. That scream in particular is 2 layers. Oh. So I cracked a few times. I had only just learned how to do that scream in particular 2 weeks before I recorded that. So it took a couple of tries, and like had to manage my breath control and like not cracking, because it's a different style than what I normally do. But yeah, I think the 4th and 5th take were like spot on. So yeah, I mean, we had to layer it. A lot of vocals like that are fries, which those are, have to be layered, because those are kind of thin sounding in general. I mainly do false chords, which is very loud. It's very full sounding. So most of the time you're hearing me with just 1 layer, but that scream in particular was 2 layers of it, just coasting over the whole thing.
Well, kudos to you on that, because you also have long screams in other songs too. Like, was it Withered Away that I'm thinking of right now? Yeah, that song. That was like a 20-second scream. Yeah. So that's nutty.
We want to do a song that's just ridiculous. 33 seconds is like, oh, it's long. I'm not trying to like sugarcoat, but like my longest I've ever done was 59 seconds. I mean, it shouldn't be like impressive, just because it's like a matter of holding your breath. If you hit a certain pitch, it's just like however long you can hold your breath for. So like if you can find that sound and do it, then it's like you can do it. But like I don't think it's really impressive. But I mean, the 59-second one sounded like shit. Like it wasn't good. Like I'm not trying to like make myself look any like cooler or whatever just because it's like that long. But we want to do a song in general where like I just hold out the longest vocals that I can and only say like 4 words throughout the whole song, and each scream is 1 word, and it's like a minute long. So it's just like 4 minutes in general, 4 words, and just 4 screams.
That's awesome. Because
I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but we joke about it a lot. We want to just make something so absurd.
No, I would honestly, that would impress me. The fact that you can hold out a scream for a minute, that's ridiculous. Like, that's impressive as fuck. But like, we showed our friend Grayson, who is going to be start doing these podcasts with us. We showed him your 33-second scream in the studio, and the entire time he was freaking out. He was like, "Yo, he's gonna pass out. He's gonna pass out, bro." And we're like, "Dude, it's disgusting." And at the very end, you're like, "I almost passed out." He was like, "I'm surprised you fucking didn't pass out."
I'm very nervous about doing it live because I think I will pass out. Just because, like, it's going to be hot lights. I'm going to be out of breath. I'm going to be just hot in general. And, like, trying to push that, like, particular pitch out while, like, holding my breath after being completely exhausted under hot lights. I'm definitely going to die.
Do you have any, like, specific, like, vocal warm-ups that you do? Because, like, I mean, most people that do these, like, extreme gutturals and false chords and all this stuff, like, they always have like something they do. Like, what is your thing that you do to get your voice ready?
Well, I mean, I don't always warm up, but when I do, it's just kind of like speaking loudly using my diaphragm and just like doing that for a couple minutes and then eventually just distorting it with my diaphragm. I feel like that's probably one of the most basic ways to warm up. It's just actually getting your diaphragm warmed up, and you know, in a few minutes, like you should be able to distort just fine.
Yeah. See, I like it when they like keep it simple, because like in our last podcast we talked to Cohen about it, and like they were telling us they're learning how to scream, and I was like, yeah, when I first was told to learn how to scream, I was listening to the dude from Alisana, and he told me to smoke cigarettes and drink pickle juice. I was like, that sounds like the worst fucking thing you could ever tell me to do to scream.
Definitely not correct. Don't do that. Unless you like cigarettes and pickle juice, then do it.
No, I'd rather stay away from that. I'm good on that. I learned the way that you just said, like warming your diaphragm up and expanding it and seeing how much air you can push out with your diaphragm.
Yep, right on. That's pretty much the way to do it. I know a lot of people do like weird stuff where they're like and like weird stuff. I don't know. I just kind of warm up by like almost doing the vocals for a few minutes and then just going for it, like I said, just kind of gradually distorting.
Yeah, so one video on YouTube that I saw as a warm-up was to do that thing for as long as you can, but hold it to a point where like your lips start to go numb. Like did that level, and of course like I've never attempted to really like follow through doing any vocals stuff like that, but that was like that was kind of bullshit. I would try that, and I was like, no, this is just weird. My lips feel weird. I don't know if I'm talking right anymore. I don't know what's happening. It was just a really weird experience.
The dude that made that video is probably just laughing because he's making people go for like a minute straight.
Honestly,
probably. He sounds like a troll, Kyle. I probably wouldn't listen to that guy.
You know what? Had a lot of views on it. I read the comments, and also if it was, I'm very glad I was part of that troll, because that was just a fantastic troll. So there you go. And
every vocalist just got.
Exactly. Exactly.
So like, I'm curious, like, how did Deadvectors and Pathogen start? Because like you said, they're like the same band. Like, how did one start, and how did like you guys decide to be like, oh, let's start another band with like, you know, the same people, just a different type of feel?
Yeah. So before either of them, I was like super desperate to be in a band because I used to be in one in high school, and that died for like the dumbest reason. And then for like 5 or 6 years, I just tried to start doing music in general. And like I started a bunch of bands and all of them failed. And I was just so frustrated with the fact that I couldn't like keep a band alive. Like everyone would just quit, that I ended up finding Aaron online, and he was a ghostwriter. So I hired him to write a song, and I loved it so much. It was Anti-Nova, by the way. I loved it so much that I told him I wanted to do an EP with him. And when I went to go record vocals with him, I told him this whole spiel where I'm like very desperate to be in a band. All I want to do is music. he told me that there was another band recording with him called Pathogen that needs a vocalist because they already had one, but they didn't want him anymore. He just wasn't their style, and they didn't really like his sound that much anymore. Aaron hooked me up with Pathogen, which is funny because those are the dudes that I kind of hung out with in high school. So it was just like instant homies. And the Deadvectors EP did really well. So I just decided to just keep doing it. And then when I joined Pathogen, I focused on that album like mainly for a good chunk of time. And also the difference between the two is Pathogen's written by the boys in Pathogen, which does not include Aaron, and Deadvectors is written mainly by me and Aaron. So that's why you get the two totally different sounds. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I was saying, we kind of just decided to keep the two alive just because they're two totally different sounds. And I mean, as soon as we decided to keep Deadvectors alive, we decided to get a full lineup in it. So I just asked the Pathogen boys if they wanted to just join and like just make it one super group that does two different sounds, and everyone was on board for it. So now we basically are all in the same band, and that's why we always say it's like the same band, because it kind of is. But yeah, that's how that happened.
Nice.
That's pretty sweet. So now here comes another question that I just thought of. It's maybe dumb, I'm not sure. So y'all ever start playing live shows? Will you be Pathogen? Will you be Deadvectors? Will you be a combination of the two? What is going to happen with that? Maybe is there any thoughts regarding that?
Well, if someone offers us like a spot on a show or a tour or something, and like they want a particular band, like we would just fit whatever they want. Or if like the roster is much more proggy or something, we would do Pathogen. If it's a significantly heavier roster, we would do Deadvectors. But like we've gotten a few offers for a bunch of like shows and like tours and whatnot, and it's very clear if like it would be a Deadvector show or a Pathogen show. And we like joke about just switching between the two, but we don't think that would ever happen unless it was like a house show and no one actually cares.
Oh, okay, sweet. That makes sense. Okay.
So with like the whole coronavirus thing, like happening over the past year, like how did that affect you guys? Like, and obviously there wasn't any shows, but like, did it give you guys? Obviously, it gave you guys more time to write music, but like, do you think it kind of affected you band wise, like with the whole thing going on, like no music for over a year and a half and shit like that?
Yeah, I definitely think it did. It directly affected both bands, just because Pathogen, when COVID started, we were about to release the album, and we eventually did, and we were like full-fledged in it, and we were practicing and whatnot. We haven't practiced in a while, to be honest. But if like we had gotten show offers after the album was released, we would have taken it. So we're kind of slow on that end now because we're not really practiced up or anything like that. So we have to boot that back up so we can get show ready. But for Deadvectors, a lot of the material that we wrote in that was for an album that we were going to do. Also, fun fact, Menace and Chameleon was recorded in January of 2020. So for some reason, we decided to wait on recording vocals, and then COVID hit, and then I wasn't really able to go see them for like 4 or 5 months, and then it all just snowballed, and it eventually just got pushed back so far that it was over a year later when we actually released the song. Yeah, but we did start writing an album for Deadvectors during COVID, and a lot of it hasn't been recorded yet. A lot of it got mixed and mashed with stuff that Aaron wrote, and a lot of the ideas that we had for that album got pushed into other things, like the Paralyzer EP. All of the ideas for that were from the album. But we ended up deciding to go this EP a month route, and we kind of just abandoned the idea of the album for the time being. So I would say COVID definitely affected both bands, but it honestly kind of helped just because I haven't been working too much. And so I had so much time to record music. So that's how we've gotten, every single month's release so far. There's plenty of time for me to go up and record. So I guess it was also a blessing as well as a curse.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed from a lot of like talking to a lot of different musicians that they said COVID was bad for the band and the fact that like you can't play any shows and like when you release an album during COVID you can't tour for said album. But they said it's helped them because it's gotten them back to their roots of like, you know, getting back into the creative zone, concentrating on writing and perfecting albums and putting final touches on everything that they wanted to do that they couldn't have done if, you know, they had been rushed when there wasn't COVID. Like, hey, you get the album released, so you go on tour. But like now they're like, we have whatever time we want to, you know, make this album what we want and make it as perfect as possible. And I think that's probably the best thing that came out of COVID was the fact that musicians took their time to record their music properly the way they want to record it, so it's what they want.
I mean, it's the best time to do it. There's so much time. You have plenty of time to just like explore your ideas and come up with new stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't actually make any music during that time, besides Menace Chameleon, but that was like before it started, and then we ended up just pushing everything back, which is kind of funny just because we released an EP and then one song and then waited an entire year, and now we are just pushing as much music out as we possibly can. I think it's just kind of funny.
I mean, hey, you're making up for lost times, which is perfectly fine.
Because I remember when the Hive came out, and I was like, okay, I'm excited what y'all have next. And then like the year waited, and I was like, okay, still enjoy it, listening to Pathogens, kind of still get like y'all still like overall feel. And then now I'm kind of being bombarded with so much good music. I feel like I'm being spoiled like a little child right now because so many bands are also releasing albums. So many tours are starting up too. So many tours. I'm not going to be able to go to a lot of them, mainly for the fact that they're like every other week or every week it seems. But yeah, because a lot of it's so crazy. Because what killed me was when y'all posted, was it Tyler from Traders, his reaction to the Hive. And that was hilarious.
Dude, we were so stoked about that. The fact that he, especially at that time, because we were very small, it's the fact that anyone like in a big band saw us and like liked it and appreciated it and said like the things that he said, we were like blown away that was even possible. We didn't even think that people would listen to us in general. So that was a very good time for that to happen.
So how did you feel when he complimented your vocals a few times at least?
Oh, it made me feel pretty good. Like the first gut that I pushed out, I think he was like, "Damn, this dude's got pipes." And I was just dying laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!" Yeah. But I always get that way whenever I see like reaction videos. They're honestly like my favorite thing ever. Just because, like I said, we do music for fun. So to like see other people enjoying it, it's like the greatest thing in the world. So I freaking love reaction videos.
Well,
it's also Kyle's favorite thing.
Yeah.
Kyle loves a good reaction video.
Oh yeah. It depends on the person. If I want to see some WWE type stuff, I'll go to Hardcore Keem or something, or I don't know. A lot of people reacted to like Hypa because that was a weird but good song. But
did you see the Keem reaction to the Hive when he knocked himself out?
Yes, I did see that. That was hilarious.
Dude, I cried. That was so funny.
I remember because that one was a definite memorable one because there was a few others. I think for one of the maybe Signs of the Swarm songs, I think he just walked in his shower and then started pouring water on himself, or he threw tater tots that were hot on the wall, or something. Or now he just has his chair and then he just has a punch dummy in there. He just destroys it. And I'm like, this guy's just a whole entire mood. It's just
you can't forget the hit markers. He always has the hit markers from Modern Warfare 2.
I love the hit markers, dude. He's got a formula and it works and he's sticking to it, and I love him for that.
See, what's funny is me and him are friends on PlayStation purely for the fact that he wanted to play Rainbow Six Siege one night, and I was like, I'll play. And then we just didn't play, but I still see him sometimes on there. So I'm like, I wish I could download Rainbow Six Siege again. I was like, because I haven't played it in such a while. I was like, let's see if he'll go on there. But nah. But yeah, no, that's funny. But yeah. So for me, the Aggressor EP, because that still feels really new to me.
Well,
I listened to that a lot. Well, it is, which is why this all feels so different. But like that definitely felt like that was a major shift. Like it felt like it was like a little definitely faster than a lot of other things. Like it just felt like I don't know, because every release was good, but that just kind of like hit just a little bit different. And then like I was like, okay, speedy, all right, let's do this. And then yeah, you have more melodic stuff. So it's like, okay, I don't know what to do except listen to everything as much as I can. But
that's awesome. That's what we want. Yeah. I mean, The Aggressor, I feel like, was one of our strongest releases in general. I mean, all of the releases we did before we really enjoyed and we thought they were good when we were like going into it and producing and releasing it. But for The Aggressor, we all agreed like we want to make the most aggressive music that we can. We want it to be in your face at all times. That's why songs just start and they stop and the next one starts and it's just like never ending. We want it to just bam, 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 right in your face. So, and that one so far has the best numbers we've seen for anything we've released. Like the fastest anyone's listened to us, the most anyone's listened to us, the most listens per song in anything that's been released, like in a certain time period. That was the release that like pushed us like a lot.
That's crazy. I'm not surprised by it, just because like you were saying, it was called The Aggressor. It was very aggressive, so that definitely fits with that. Like, real.
So like. You said like how you said like we want to make the most aggressive EP possible, like just in your face. Like, what was the writing process like for that? Because like that's something I've always like been curious with. Like I've asked like Darius from Spite, like when I saw them, and I was like, yo, what is your writing process for just being so aggressive all the time? Like, what is going through your head when you're writing these songs? And that's what I want to know from like you guys. Like, what is going through your head when you're like, let's make this fucking aggressive. I want this in your face. I want everyone moshing at shows. Like,
well, I mean, I can't really speak for Aaron too much, but I can say like the writing style, it just kind of goes measure by measure. Aaron likes to record a measure and just make that like the best that he thinks it can be, and then he'll move on to the next one. It's like the easiest way for someone to write because you just like take like an entire like section of a song and complete it, and then just move on. It just completely unravels as you finish writing it. We just knew going into it, we wanted it that aggressive in your face. We wanted lots of change ups, fast speed, blast beats. We wanted a ton of breakdowns and just like basically like the toughest like riffs you can think of. And Aaron fucking achieved that for sure. I think The Aggressor is like our best stuff yet. But yeah, for the instrumentals, that's probably the best I can explain it. And like I said, for vocals, I didn't know any of the music until I showed up that day. And like I would hear a song and be like, oh, we should make this song about war, or like Access Denied's about cell phones. Like it's just like whatever I feel like in that moment. Aaron's like, all right, let's do it. And then we just start writing the song right there on the spot vocally.
Okay, so I feel like I may have a hunch, but what's Merciless about?
Merciless, well, the entire Distraught Mind EP is actually one storyline. If you go and read the lyrics, speaking of lyrics, I need to fucking upload all of them. There's like no lyrics anywhere. I am so behind. I haven't released anything this year. But anyways, the Distraught Mind is about this dude that's losing his mind because he thinks World War III is going to happen and like they're going to drop bombs and no one believes them. And then the Anti-Nova is like he kind of starts to like lose his shit and become depressed and whatnot because he's so alone. Everyone shuts him out. And then Merciless is like a psychopathic revenge killing spree on all the people that did him wrong. And then Grim Reminders is the fact that he realizes that like we're all gonna die just because like the bombs are coming in general and like life doesn't matter, yada yada. This is really, you know, bright, happy material. I know you guys definitely think that. But it kind of comes full circle. I'm so proud of the lyrics I wrote for that. It definitely does come full circle, though, because each song is a different idea about death, but it's like completely separate and all the same at the same time. And like, if you take the first line of the first song and the last line of the last song, I tried to warn the world, we're all destined to die. So I am so proud of it. I will take that to my grave. That is like the coolest shit I've written.
I would be proud of that too. That's like creative writing at its best right there. Like I love a good album that tells a story. Like me and Kyle are really into The Gloom in the Corner, and the whole like discography is like the continuation of the same story. And I was like, I really fuck with bands that do that, and I wish more bands would do that. But the fact that you just explained that to us and that it's like that, that makes me respect y'all way more and like the music way more than I already did.
That's so cool. I'm really glad you like that. I'm so proud of it. Like you can see I'm like smiling ear to ear. I love talking about it. That's my favorite like lyrics I've ever written was that EP.
That's probably why it's my favorite too, just because like in particular, I figured Merciless was about like psychotic rampage, just because I at least know the lyrics for that song, and then also like the iconic. Oh, you froze there. Oh, there you go. Fine. I am the Reaper. Is that what I said? By the way, when I hear that, I'm like, all right, sweet, you're the Reaper. That's dope. Good for you, man. That's fire. But like, that definitely like because especially like the pronunciation in songs too. Like you're definitely really good with that. Like I love when you go from like just like a nice like mid that I know like this would be like a nice guttural with it, and then you just hit that, and I'm like, all right, it's like you're doing us a service there. So,
well, thank you. I'd like to think that well, a lot of people like compliment me on my pronunciation, like you said, like you can tell what I'm saying, and I definitely think that's because of the vocals I do are all false chords for the most part. So it's like I don't do any weird tongue placements. I don't do any like tunnels or whatever. It's all like completely open, like regular, like as if you're talking. It's just distorted with my diaphragm, and that's how I'm able to achieve like really good pronunciation. And that's like something that I've always done. Like back in my high school band, people used to compliment the fact that they can understand what I'm saying. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I like the fact that people can understand it. I also do like the kind of what's it called, fry screams, like Lorna Shore's like crazy like kind of stuff. Like it's all super. You can't tell anything he's saying, but like it sounds really cool, and I want to get better at that. But I do like having my bass as like false chords. I think it's definitely good for what we are.
I think that's something that definitely a lot of people don't really do in this scene, especially like when it's super aggressive. Like they always go for the craziest sounding stuff, and like a lot of like the deathcore and like slam I listen to. I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what the fuck they are saying. Like any Infinite Annihilator song I've ever listened to, I was like, yeah, I can't understand a fucking word, but oh well. Like even with the new Lorna Shore song, I could barely understand like half the words he says, except for like maybe 10 the whole song. But I was like, it's disgusting and it hits, so like whatever. But like I can understand pretty much every word you say on every single album. That's I like that. It's a change of pace from like the craziness that like comes out of that like the deathcore slam scene.
That's pretty sweet. I'm glad someone can like understand my vocals. I mean, like I said, like that's something I'm like pride myself on. So I'm stoked about that. About like 95% of the vocals I do are usually false chord. So every once in a while, like even in the EP I dropped today, Elemental, like in Firelord, I did like a pretty gnarly fry scream. Like every once in a while, I'll just like sprinkle a little bit of fries in there. I think it adds some good spice, but I definitely don't think I could do a whole song fry. It just wouldn't sound like me. And I mean, it would be sick, but I don't know. Like I said, it's not.
Aren't fries like not really good for your vocal cords anyway? Like you're supposed to like limit how much you fry in general.
I probably would bet that they're better for your vocals than false chords.
Okay.
Because the difference is like fry streams is like just air passing through, and it's all distortion. It's like you're deep frying the air coming out, so it gets this distorted like devilish sound. False chords are like your regular vocal cords, but you also push with your diaphragm, so you can hear your voice in it while distorting, so it sounds like you're yelling, even though you're not. So I feel like it's very easy to slip up your technique sometimes when you're doing false chords, rather than fries. I feel like if you're doing fries, you're not even thinking about making vocal sounds. It's all just distorted things. But with false chords, like I said, it's very easy to slip up. I do it from time to time, and like after I do a take, I'm like, whoops, that didn't feel good, and I'll like find my technique again and get back to it.
Yeah, well, now I learned something every day, because for the longest time I was always told fries are horrible for your vocals. Fries are always horrible for your vocals. Like, that's what Ollie Sykes did to fuck his vocals up after Count Your Blessings, and I was like, stay away from fries. But all right, now I feel more educated on that subject.
Cool beans, man.
So, how is it being on the Mark Life song with someone? How was that?
Oh, I mean, that was so much fun. I mean, I met Mark's Life through Instagram, through the Deadvectors page, and I like through that like found Sam and like all the other members and whatnot. And me and Sam, we would just send like memes or like really dumb shit back and forth to each other. And one day, like we were just sending stupid videos of us pretending like we didn't know how to scream, but pretending that we knew it. So we were purposely just sounding awful and like pretending to like pass out and shit like that. And then out of nowhere, Sam just like was straight up. He's like, yo, you should be on a Marked Life song. And I just stopped everything. I was like, Sam, are you serious? But yeah, so I was super stoked about it. And then it just kind of, that happened like in the summer of 2020. And I recorded their stuff for them, I think in the fall, and they were going to wait to release it because they wanted to do it with a certain EP. And as soon as we started the EP a month idea, I was like, well, I'm totally down to have guest vocalists. Like, we're doing like 40 songs. Like, I'll take as many guest vocalists come to my door and, you know, say, let's do something. So I was actually in Arizona in December, which is where half of Marked Life lives. Okay. And they were going to shoot a music video sometime in December, and I hit them up at the same time. I was like, hey, I'm in town. Like, we should hang out. And they're like, no way, we're doing a music video. I was like, oh, that's crazy. We should chill. And they're like, why don't we do the music video of the song that you did for us? And I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. And while we were shooting it, we were taking a break, and I came up to Sam, and I was like, yo, you should be on a Deadvector song. And I showed him Crooked. I was like, I want you to just tear this part apart. And he was down for it. So we kind of just like did like a guest vocal swap. So it was really cool. I'm really good friends with the Marked Life guys. So it was definitely a lot of fun to hang out and do a bunch of music with them. Yeah,
that's sweet, because when like we were announcing that stuff, I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting this because I've been listening to them since they dropped Just Death. So I was like, I was extremely excited about that. So I was like, all right, this is amazing. And then when I saw you feature one of y'all's songs, of course I love that song too. But like, damn, like that was crazy, because I really wasn't expecting that. And I was like, man, like both these worlds are meeting together. Kyle's happy. It's all that matters right now. Good music. So
I love having guests on my music, or like being on other people's music. I think cross promotion, like doing a guest vocal swap, is like the coolest thing, just because like his band's making music together and just like cross promoting, and like I think it's like the best thing for bands is to just like have more people just like on your stuff. Like that's why, well, we haven't had too many guest vocalists, but as of right now, I think I have 11 or 12 guest vocalists on standby for the rest of this year. So we're going to have like a ton of guest vocals, and they're gnarly. I have a few guest vocal swaps in the works. I think I have 3 right now. So the thing I did with Marked Life, I'm going to do it a couple more times.
Nice.
Very, very exciting.
Do you have like a dream guest vocalist, like either someone coming onto Deadvectors or Pathogen to do a guest vocalist, or like you going on to someone else's? Like, do you have like one band or person that you would want to like definitely like do a guest vocalist with?
Like have someone on my music?
Either or, like either have someone on your music or you go on their music, like, or both. Like,
I am like blown away that anyone wants me on their music in general. So I love doing guest vocalist spots. I don't have like a particular band that I want, just because I want like all of them, because I love making music. Whatever it is, I'm down. And I don't know if I can say I have like a dream person to like do guest vocals on Deadvectors. I typically like to keep it within my circle, like people that I'm friends with or like know of. Like I would much rather have like people like that on my music than someone that I just find and like, I don't know, give them a bunch of money and say, hey, do this, that, and the other. So like it'd be cool to have some like big vocalist on a track, but I think I'd much rather prefer, you know, some of my friends.
I can see that because like at a certain point, like when you're doing it with like your boys and like you're bringing your friends in on it, and like they're doing it for both of y'all's bands. You're doing it for the fun of what you guys are doing. Then like you get some big guy and it's all about the money, and then it takes away from the fact that you're doing it for the fun of the music and all of that. And
Yeah,
yeah, I see where you're coming from on that, like 100%.
yeah, we're just doing it for fun. So like, I mean, I don't have a problem paying someone to do it. If like they need money, like to like pay for a studio time or something like that, that's fine. But like, I'd much rather just like keep it within. You know, I have like a bunch of friends that are amazing vocalists, and the way I see it, like half the vocalists that I have lined up, or like some of the vocalists that I have featured already, they're not even in bands. Like they're just good at vocals. So it doesn't. I feel like guest vocals are typically steered toward like having exposure. Say like a band gets like this huge artist, it's to like help blow up that song. I'm just doing it just so I make better music. It doesn't have to be a big dude.
That's sweet. Because
I can respect that.
the first artist that comes to my mind that I remember when I was starting to listen to kind of music, and I was like, okay, how am I gonna figure out if I can like a band? I was like, okay, they have a song featuring Ryan Kirby. I kind of like this band already. So it was just purely Ryan Kirby being a guest vocal on some band's song, and then just going from there or something like that. And that definitely makes sense in regards to exposure and stuff like that. But I definitely like you were saying, like, I like the concept of just having your friends on, because like you were saying, like y'all do this for fun, and it definitely shows in your music, and it definitely shows right now. So because like definitely seem like you enjoy everything regarding that, and that's fantastic too. That's definitely glad to hear, because that's one thing where definitely regarding like this type of music, it's kind of like so extreme in its own way and so niche that a lot of people that listen to it, it's like a pretty decent part of their life. Like for instance, I don't know anything about music. I don't know what a what was it called, Nash? That panic chord? I still don't know what that is.
Panic
You
chord.
spent like 15 minutes trying to teach it to me. I don't know what it means. Can you explain it to me? You know what? This can stay in. What's a panic chord?
So a panic chord, essentially, it sounds like more panicky once it's like higher up on like the fretboard. It's when like two notes that are like next to each other, half steps, play at the same time, and the frequencies fight each other. So that's why you get that kind of sound to it. It's because the waves are actually fighting each other, and it makes it sound like panic. It sounds awful. And I think it was also called like the devil's note, something like that. That's what a panic chord is. So if you ever hear like some like thing like that, that's a panic note or chord.
Okay. You see, Nash, you did a lot better job explaining than you did. Okay. So thank you for that. I learned something today. Learned a lot of things, but that might be the most beneficial later on.
There you go, man.
I failed on my part as going to school for music. I'm sorry, Kyle.
You know what? It's fine. I don't know anything about music. I played trombone for a little while.
I don't know shit about music, but I love doing music. I tried taking like music theory and stuff like that, and I refuse. I can't read sheet music. Like
fuck music theory, dude. Fuck music theory.
I love doing music though, and I play a ton of instruments. Like the other day, I just bought a Schecter. It's my 5th guitar.
I saw that.
I love my Schecter, dude. It is gorgeous, but I don't know anything.
I saw that guitar.
I just pick it up and I jam. I've been doing it for like 15 years, so I'm very good at just like riffing on whatever instrument comes my way. I don't know shit about it though.
That's kind of how I feel, because I mean, I started playing music when I was 4, and I started off with drums because I was like, that was the instrument that I felt called to be. And I've been playing since I was 4. But like, I picked up a couple other instruments. And, like, I went to school for music, but like when I got into music theory and all that stuff, I was just like, I honestly, like, this is hard. I don't really care. Like, it makes me feel like I don't know shit about music. Like when I'm learning about like how to fucking read sheet music. Like it took me like 2 years to learn how to read sheet music, and I was like, I thought music was supposed to be fun. Why is there math involved?
Yeah.
Wait, out of curiosity, am I the only one here that can read sheet music?
I can read sheet music now.
And then now also, okay, you know what? Never mind, Nash. I'm gonna take that moment for a second. I'm just gonna enjoy it. Be like, okay, I'm
If it makes you
situated.
feel better, if it makes you feel better, I'll give it
It
to you.
actually
I'll give it to
doesn't
you.
because it actually doesn't. However, not to toot my own horn here, but Nash knows this. I'm a pretty great bass player.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. Hot cross buns. We need to pull up the video, Kyle.
Yeah, if you haven't, please. But
I don't. I'll text Owen. So backstory with this whole thing. Me and our friend Owen, we were like, yo, we should start a band, like do like dual vocalist, kind of like volumes type thing. And then I had a couple friends that played drums and guitar, and I was like, we need a bass player. We're like, Kyle was just standing there, like, Kyle, take my bass and learn how to play it. So I gave him my bass, and I gave him my learn how to play bass like notebook. It was just tab. And it was teaching him scales and all that. And I was like, learn how to play bass. And he sent us a video of him playing hot cross buns, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And all of us have it like archived somewhere. Like his girlfriend's dad has it, and like he'll show it to him randomly to piss him off. It's so funny. It's so fucking funny.
I need to see this video.
Honestly, I want to find it purely for the facts. I want to bring it on the page because part of something that we were talking about as a potential video at some point was me attempting that journey again to learn how to play it
and documenting it all.
But I'm trying to figure out like I don't have the time for it right now. So I'm an internship, I get a job, but now I'm like, okay, maybe I should still attempt to do it like once a month, but just kind of have
that's it once a month
to like record it to be like, here's my update for the month, and at least actually, if you want down Nash, I can attempt to try it for the summer. I'm down to do it, but you see, because I didn't realize at first because I attempted, I was like, you know what? I was like, did I use a pick? I don't know if I did. I don't know. I've tried to watch so many YouTube videos on it.
When you start off playing bass, you got to start off with your fingers. You got to start off with your fingers first to get the feel of it.
See, that's what I was trying to do.
Well, I just bought Grayson's bass, so I'll give you my bass, and then I'll still have a bass to play. So I'll give you my bass. I just bought Grayson's.
This is on video.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, sweet.
We're gonna give you the bass. You're gonna try it. We have documentation saying that you're gonna try to play the bass.
That's right. Kenny's here.
Kenny's the witness, and you're gonna learn how to play bass.
I will hold it against you.
Do it, man.
You're gonna get DMs from him saying, "Have you played a song yet? Let me see it. Let me see how you're doing." Bro, I'm gonna hold you accountable to it as well.
First night getting it, I'm gonna attempt to play that song again, and Kenny, you're getting the first video. So
thank you so much.
No problem. Because I remember doing it I was like, wearing a tank top or something. I don't know what it was. I just looked stupid. I know I was playing bad. Every time I played something, I kind of like a half squat. So I was like, yeah, I'm feeling it. Also, I don't know if Nash mentioned Owen, other member, is like I'm dating his sister. like a long time, like almost 7 years. But like so Owen's dad is also my girlfriend, Ashley's dad. And that was probably the funniest thing I've ever did to him. And I don't make him laugh. He we'll talk sometimes, but it's like when he saw that video, he enjoyed it by far more than anybody else, purely for the fact I was looking so stupid. And I was like, you know what? This is a positive. Even if I feel a little bad about it, maybe a little bad, I love it now. Because I was trying, but it didn't work out too well.
You gotta
start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? Now I gotta start it again. All right, Nash, you free tonight? I'll go pick it up from you. I'm kidding. Can't type. But...
Yeah. Come by.
Sweet.
So like, back to like like touring and all that stuff with like with these new EPs. Like, do you guys plan on taking any of these EPs out and like touring them? Like whether it's in like your local city, like with your local scene, or like doing like East Coast tour maybe, or like full United States or anything like that?
Well, we do have some tours in the works. I say some, I only mean one, but we have a couple other shows like just sprinkled out there. We do have a tour in the works. It is East Coast. It would be next year sometime, and it's, I don't know, everything about it is still being thought of, but we were offered a spot and we are going to take it. And as for what we're going to play, I can't tell you. I have no idea. We only have half our material written for the year, so.
I was gonna say like where are you guys from? Like, you guys plan on doing like local shows for any of these like EPs at all?
Yeah, we're all from Philly. Well, Christian just moved to Denver, actually, and Aaron's in New Jersey, but the rest of us are all Philly. So we just kind of say we're from Philly just because Aaron's close enough to kind of bunch it up there. I'm certain we'll end up doing some shows in Philly and whatnot, maybe some in Jersey or up in New York or something. But as of right now, I would imagine that to be next year, just because we're going to be like super busy making all these tunes this year that I don't know if we'll have time to practice or whatnot, because everyone's got their own jobs, yada, yada, that whole spiel. But yeah, we are all about doing like a tour at some point, and lots of shows.
Well, if you do any local shows and you post them on Instagram, you might see me and Kyle pull up because Philly is not a far drive from us.
Oh, that's
we can make that. I mean, we live in Virginia Beach. All we gotta really do is go through Delaware, and we'll be there in 6-7 hours. But like, I'm always down to travel for a show. Like, that's not gonna stop me. But you'll probably see us at a show.
That would be awesome. Definitely come up and hang out.
Yeah, especially I'm improving enough, and I guess feature live my bass. I got you, man. If you need me to, I'll go up there. I'll play hot cross buns a little bit.
Filling on bass for us.
Bro, I'll hold you to that too, man. I'll do it. I'll embarrass you.
Deadvectors featuring Kyle Hot Cross Buns opening.
Yeah, exactly.
Just hot cross buns for like 15 minutes straight.
Oh,
nothing else but hot cross buns.
Yeah, just play in between every set, just hot cross buns, every single set.
Honestly, you know what? I don't know if I'd do it, but the opportunity.
I'll pay you, Kyle.
How much?
I'll pay you to do it.
How much?
I don't know. We'll figure it out when the time comes, but I'll pay you to do that.
Okay, $1,000. I'll do it.
$1,000 to play hot cross buns?
Yeah.
If that's the case, you need to learn like a Vela Maya song. I'll give you $1,000.
Okay, that's my book cost for this upcoming semester, so that's why I'm saying it. I'll take it up front. But yeah, so that's sweet, because even if y'all get to travel, especially if y'all travel to Virginia, like, I don't mosh, but like, I will throw Owen in the pit. He's tall and skinny. I can toss him. So
I'll spin kick him in the face.
I know you will. You can't even kick that high.
I'll figure it out.
I remember he did a spin kick one time and he said, "Oh, I got so high." I'm like, you didn't go above your waist.
Figure it out. I'll knock him out in the pit, and then I'll pick him right back up.
Oh, poor Owen. Poor Owen.
It's okay. None of us mosh. None of us mosh at all, which is why. But like, when we talk to these, when we've been talking to bands, we're like, yo, like, we'll show out for you guys. Like, you guys are cool people. Like, we'll definitely show out and break our comfort zone and mosh for y'all.
So, do you really mean it?
Yeah, I'll get in the pit for y'all. I'm kind of a pacifist. I don't like confrontation, but you know what? For the boys, I'll do it. Why not?
You're the real MVP. I appreciate you.
I'll hurt Nash.
There's only,
I promise.
The only thing I have to say is the reason I'm scared of moshing is because of body stature.
Oh God. Well, that's understandable. I mean, you go in that, you're basically signing a waiver saying that you could die at any moment.
Exactly. Like, it's body stature and the acacia strain. Those are the two bands that made me like truly terrified of like the pit.
I mean, the Knocked Loose pit we saw was insane too.
Yeah, it's still not body snatcher.
Well, not body snatcher, but like, I'm more referring to the guy that jumped over everybody. Is that a profile picture?
What?
I don't know. There was when we saw Knocked Loose at Warped Tour, essentially one guy just jumped.
Okay, yes, I remember.
Like, in the pit, and he was just above of everybody's head, and we were just like, "What just happened? Why did he jump so high? That's not a pit thing. You're supposed to hit people. Why are you jumping like that?" And it was probably my favorite moment I Warped Tour that year.
Doing the Super Mario jump.
Exactly.
So like, I told my friend Cam that we were interviewing today, and he's super big into the hardcore scene and deathcore scene down here. And he was like, yo, if they come to Virginia, he was like, let him know. His favorite thing to do at his show, during the last song, whenever the last breakdown hits, he picks up whatever trash can is near him and throws it at people. He's gotten kicked out of Every Time I've Died, Knocked Loose, the Acacia Strain, every show for doing this. And he was like, I will do it for Deadvectors if they come through to Virginia. Tell them that I'm ready to throw a trash can for them.
Dude, we would be honored if he threw a trash can for us.
And they got kicked out of the show.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
There are also some crazy people over here in the hardcore scene in particular. Like, 'cause I know we saw Volumes live, and was it the Ocean Man Alaska?
Yeah, okay.
Either way,
Born of Osiris.
yeah, in Born Osiris. Was that when the guy got like his eye kicked out? Yeah, there was a guy who got hit in the face and his eye popped out.
Nice.
And he didn't. He stayed for the rest of the set.
What?
Yeah, we were just holding there. I'm like,
Yeah, they
okay?
held it there. He went outside. The paramedics came and he came back in with the bandage over his eye. I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now? And he was like, nah, bro. He was like, it's Volumes because the new singer of
Volumes, bro.
The new singer of Volumes, he's from Richmond, and that's where the show was. So Richmond showed the fuck out for Volumes because it's a hometown show for Homeboy. And you got kicked in the face so hard as I fell out.
That's unbelievable, dude. That's insane.
We all had Volumes, like fuck it.
Dude, he needs like a VIP pass, like anything Volumes does for like.
Yeah. And one of my favorite parts about that venue in particular is there are 2 security guards that are just known there. One is called the Boogeyman, so everybody's called him that. He wears a Punisher shirt. It's like 6'4".
No, like he's like just 6'7". Like he's
no,
motherfucker.
Okay, well maybe because the other security guard is 7 feet tall is what I'm saying is. And so the 7-foot guy is just a big 7-foot guy, and I've seen him like push somebody out by like holding his arms all the way down and just like barely pushing them out. And then I've seen that guy going like the Boogeyman, like big dude, ripped dude. I saw him like for one song, he just took off whatever uniform he had and like had like on a Punisher shirt and then moshed for a minute. And I was like, the guy you just threw out was not nearly that violent. I was like, I know why you have this job. You want to be the hardest mosher here. And I respected him so much from that because this guy was no like earbuds in anything, was standing right next to the speaker. And I was like, are you okay? Because I think that show in particular that I'm thinking about was like after the burial Born of Osiris, because that was crazy, because after the burial was just crazy within itself. And I think they played Berserker, and I was looking at that and I was like, my ears hurt. How about your ears? Owen couldn't hear after that show. Was it that show you couldn't hear after?
I don't know, but the dude was literally standing like 6 inches away from the PA, like on his like ear, and he was just unfazed by it. No earplugs, no in-ears, no protection, anything. He was just standing there.
Yeah, that's exactly what he would do. He was on the hunt, man.
Nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But if you do ever come to Virginia, you would have the people here would definitely show up for y'all. Like the scene here is absolutely ridiculous for like heavy music. It's the fans are literally die hard. Like I remember that I think it was Ice Nine Kills, their tour manager messed with one of the fans in the crowd, like try to kick him out. So all of the like, you know, hardcore kids, metalhead kids down here, they went out and tipped their merch trailer. Like,
damn. That's wild.
They were like, no, it was the VBHC and the RVAHC that all got together and did that. And I was like, yeah, no. But they're diehard. They will show up and put on a good ass show and like give you guys the crowd that you would want for a heavy ass show.
That is good to know for sure. We'll definitely have to swing by there. Good crowds are where it's at.
Yeah, it makes the show more fun. Like if the crowd is just standing there and like the band's just standing there, like what's the point of going to a show?
There is none.
Like if I don't come home from a show and I'm like, you know, sweaty, have a couple bruises on me, my ears aren't ringing, I'm just like, did I go to a show?
It's not even worth it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it. Like the best show I think I went to, I broke my rib and I was like, that was totally worth it. Like I don't even care.
What for?
I mean, you should probably care like a little bit about your body, but
I was in pain. I went to the doctor, but I mean, it was Warped Tour, and it was the very first set of Warped Tour that it happened. So I went through the rest of Warped Tour with a broken rib.
Oh, was that when the guy was like
running the opposite way?
He was even like skipping with his like knee up, like just hitting people.
It was a circle pit, and he was running the opposite way, and he was crowd killing while going the opposite way, and this kneed me in the stomach.
Well, goddamn.
During Attila of all bands.
Oh,
Yeah.
people go hard for it though.
Because I saw him clothesline a lady, like a younger, like probably like maybe 18, maybe 16, couldn't really tell, but like young. And this guy was like not a small guy, not like a massive guy, not like Boogeyman, but like a pretty decent sized guy. And then when that happened, I was like, no way. And then he just needs somebody else like in the gut. And then that might have, no, actually, it was someone else. Either way, that was memorable. That was terrifying because I don't know if she was okay. But
So like, I know Philly has a really good like hardcore metal scene. Like, do you have a crazy show story?
Well, I mean, a lot of the shows are just absolutely whacked. I mean, like you heard about the one Varial show where they had the naked mosher.
No. What?
Yeah, one of their music videos. There's this. It's at the American Legion. This dude was just naked and he was fucking going harder than anyone else. Like people are wild, man. I don't really have any particular stories. It's just like people doing ridiculous shit like that.
That's wild. That's funny. I wish some shit like that would happen down here, but like I feel like they would just instantly catch a charge because like sometimes people down here just take everything a little too seriously.
Yeah.
When we saw August Burns Red Live, a couple people were kicked out because they were having sex at the bar.
That did happen.
They announced it. Like they're like, oh, someone was kicked out because they were having sex at the bar. We're like, that's what was happening.
So like being from Philly, did you guys ever play with Varials or anything like that?
I've played with Varials before, like years ago, like back when they were small. I've recorded music with them before. Like they're from my hometown, like specifically. Like I went to high school with these dudes, so I don't know. I was actually just hanging out with them like a month ago. We spent like a week at a beach house and we were just chilling. It was a good time.
That's sick. That's dope. That's like I like hearing shit like that. Like bands being friends with other bands. Like that's cool as fuck. Like I've listened to Varial since they released their first EP, and like they're always in my fucking playlist. Like they go hard.
Yeah, man, they're nuts.
I was kind of sad though when Travis decided to leave though.
Yeah, it is what it is though. I mean, like they got a new guy, so that's cool. But yeah, their new album fucking slaps. Their new shit.
You've gotten to listen to it?
Oh yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm mad jealous of that. That's one of my most anticipated like albums that I'm waiting for because like In Darkness was a perfect album in my opinion. That was bang.
And again to me was the shit, and then In Darkness was cool, but not as like upfront as Pain Again.
Mm-hmm. They added a lot of new metal elements into it, like with like the Love Machine and like stuff like that, and it was like Deftones. That was the first thing that clicked, and I was like, I fuck with it. But no, Pain Again, chef's kiss as well.
It's good shit, man. It's good.
Yeah, because we've seen them live. Like
I've
seen the most, and we've seen them live a few times, and we've also seen a few people get kicked out during their set. I think the most I've seen kicked out has been during their sets, purely for the fact that they go hard, and then some people were, of course, going maybe a little bit too hard, but maybe not hard enough because I forgot what song it was. Either way, yeah, I love Pain Again also. You said what?
Talking about Dead Weather when the breakdown is just violence.
Oh yeah, literally someone got like the I think it might have been Boogeyman that literally picked somebody up, took them out, and I was like, nope. Here's violence, and everybody in the pit just started mauling each other. I was like, that guy's missing out on a great part right there. Come on, leave him in for a little bit. They want to see this.
Do you have any other questions, Kyle, that you want to ask?
I think I went through everything that I had. Actually, here's one. Do you have any influences? Any musical influences? Or just influences in general? Maybe Will Ferrell's an influence. I'm not sure.
Every once in a while, I'll get like influence from like some like funk artist or like indie music. Our influences are wacky. Like I don't really have something to like pinpoint. Like there's a couple Rammstein songs that we took inspiration from. The EP that dropped today was completely inspired by just Avatar. We got inspiration ideas for like future stuff. I mean, like it kind of comes from a whole bunch of different places. It's not like we listen to one band and we're like, that's the sound.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's sweet. Because that's why I asked if it was like outside of just music as influences, because I was going to ask if Avatar was the influence for that. So
the wackiest influence I've gotten was from Menace and Chameleon. A couple of years ago, I think it was 2019. I was hanging out with my buddy at college, and he was doing a play for the school, and his part was a seductive chocolate bar. And I shit you not, the fact that he played a seductive chocolate bar influenced the idea of Menace. And then Rocket League influenced Chameleon.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
You play Rocket League?
Of course I do. I'm a diamond, baby.
Oh, diamond? I'm a champ,
Yeah.
bro. If you ever down to
You're
play,
champ.
yeah, I've been playing for a while, but Owen's been playing longer.
Yeah, we all play Rocket League.
Yeah, okay, Nat, you play Rocket League. Yeah.
I do play Rocket League. Okay, I'm sorry. I sold my PlayStation because I had no use for it anymore because I didn't really play it anymore.
I didn't know you sold it. What?
One of the girls at work said that she broke her PlayStation, and I was like, well, I don't really use mine. She was like, do you know where I can get one for cheap? And I was like, I'll sell you mine. I was like, I'm waiting for the 5 to come out anyway. She gave me $250 for it. So I was like, all right, here's my PlayStation.
There you go. Well, Kenny, if you'd ever like maybe some training tips or whatever, I got you. All right.
Well, I play a ton with Trey from Warm Shepherd. If you want to join up on our squad, we would love to have you.
Bro, I'm down for that. I also have other friends that play too. So if ever we can do like 3v3, just weird private match stuff too. I'm always down for that.
Oh, we're totally about it.
So that'd be sweet. Yeah, that's fire, man. You know what? I always wanted to ask a Rocket League question. I was figuring out how to place it in, but you brought it up for me. Appreciate that. So
what's that?
I said always trying to figure out a way to ask a Rocket League question. So I'm glad that you brought it up for me. So how was that an influence? And I'm very curious about that.
All right. So the seductive chocolate bar thing, he was like the bad guy. It was like everyone in the play was a certain candy or something. And he like was supposed to influence the main character to do some bad shit. And the way he was explaining it to me, he used the word menacing. Like he said, like, I just have to stand there and look menacing. I was like, menace. That's a really cool word. And like, I looked it up, found the exact definition, and like almost instantly came up with the idea of someone that isn't like the menace, but appears menacing. And then in the same day I was playing Rocket League and I was using Chameleon, which is my favorite black market decal in the game. And I was like, Chameleon. And I just started thinking about the word just because it's a cool word. And then I was able to link it together. Like menace is about like people being framed for like being like the worst people in society. And Chameleon is about the people that get away with it because these people were framed. So it came out of Rocket League and a chocolate bar, but I came up with Menace and Chameleon.
I love that so much.
That's
good ideas from like the wackiest shit.
Bro, that's crazy. I mean, turn into good songs. So
right
there you go. And that's a story. It's like, what inspired this? Rocket League and a chocolate bar. In particular, my friend who was a chocolate bar. It's like, huh?
Like a chocolate bar inspired Menace.
Yeah, it's like, all right, understandable.
Sounds like your friend was the real life embodiment of sexual man chocolate. Attack.
Yeah, he really was. But yeah, good shit though.
Is there anything you want to, say before we end it? Like anything you want to plug about yourself? I know the new EP just came out. Obviously, go listen to it. But
if anything, listen to Pathogen. We're coming out with another album. We're in the process of writing it. It takes a really long time just because we're really like thinking about everything we do with it. So sit tight. But yeah, Pathogen's coming out soon. And if you want, listen to Deadvectors, I guess. I don't know. We do stuff every month. I got nothing for you. I mean, it's all different. I can't really plug anything. It's just some music's tough, some's melodic, some's, wacky. But yeah.
And yeah, with the Pathogen stuff, with it being like more prog, I can see how that's a little bit, takes longer to write. Like you got to put more into like the technical side of everything, which is retarded hard sometimes. Like it's ridiculous.
Everything about Pathogen is critiqued for weeks. Like
I bet.
It takes so long to make a Pathogen song.
That's that prog life, man.
It really is. Writing vocals for it sucked. I mean, it was great and it was fun and I love it and I'm glad I did it. But like, it is a process. It took almost a year to record Null Space vocals just because we took it. I joined right as I started recording. So like, I had to come up with stuff and it had to be good lyrics. It had to be good patterns and everything was discussed. And we would do 3 versions of like a song and then pick certain things and come up with new stuff. So it took a very long time. So like I said, get ready for Pathogen LP2, but you're going to have to wait a little bit.
Hey, I'm fine with waiting, man. Like if it, especially with prog, I kind of understand how long that takes. Like I'm fine with waiting for you guys to critique it to like what you want it to be. Because if y'all like it, then I'll like it. Like, that's all. Yeah.
We are super proud of Null Space, and we are going to do the same exact thing with our second album.
And I'm excited. I'm done excited then.
Sweet, yeah.
Cool beans.
But thank you again, man, for being on. It was an honor. We'll love to have you on again sometime if you're ever down.
It was a pleasure. I'd love to.
Yeah, of course, man. So yeah, that was the second official podcast. Thank you, Kenny, for being here, and have a good one, guys.
Why must you lie to